celebrate the life, voice, career, and legacy of Marian Anderson, the singer whose voice famed Italian conductor Arturo Toscanini described as a once-in-100-years voice. She was a contralto, the lowest female voice, and by all accounts, she was one of America's finest singers. Now, it seems to me that with that alone, she's worthy of our attention and tribute. But Ms. Anderson's story goes beyond her music. You see, she was black, and in the first half of the 20th century, even one of our nation's leading classical singers encountered widespread and often overt racial discrimination. Today, she is remembered not only for the many things she did, but for the many things she was not allowed to do. But let me back up for just a moment. She was born in Philadelphia on February 27, 1897. February 27th. Her birthday was just a few days ago. At a young age, she sang spirituals in church. She tried to attend the Philadelphia Music Academy, but was turned away because she was black. But she still sang. The members of her church raised enough money for her to take voice lessons. And in 1925, she won a singing competition sponsored by the New York Philharmonic. That led to singing opportunities. By the late 1930s, she was well known in Europe and the United States. The perhaps seminal moment in her life happened in 1939. Event organizers wanted her to sing at Constitution Hall in Washington, D.C. This was a leading concert venue at the time. It was owned and operated by the Daughters of the American Revolution organization. 7 years earlier, 1932, the DAR had adopted a policy excluding African American musicians from performing in the venue. They refused to make an exception for Ms. Anderson. This caused quite a rift, and many DAR members resigned, including the then First Lady of the United States, Eleanor Roosevelt. Eleanor Roosevelt used her influence to organize a concert on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial on Easter Sunday, April 9, 1939, where Marian Anderson sang to a crowd of 75,000 people in a live radio audience. April 30, 1939, 80 years ago, next month. This is the moment that Marian Anderson is best known for by many. She was 42 years old, and at that point she had not sung a role in a staged opera. In fact, she only did that one time. 16 years later, in 1955, at the age of 58, she sang her one operatic role. It was Ulrica in Verdi's Un ballo in maschera for the Metropolitan Opera in New York. She had been chosen and invited to be the first African-American singer to appear on stage in a Met production. There's no question that she paved the way for and inspired countless artists that have followed her. She received just about every national arts accolade available. She was in the first group of musicians to receive the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1963. She was among the first group of Kennedy Center honorees in 1978. She received the National Arts Medal in 1986. She received the Grammy Award for Lifetime Achievement in 1991. She died on April 8, 1993, in her 96th year. And one day, April 8, one day before the 51st anniversary of the Lincoln Memorial Concert. It was April 9th. For this program, I've invited 4 singers to share their talents, both in selections that Marian Anderson sang on her concerts and other selections that grow out of her experiences and her lasting legacy.
Oh, what manner of man is this? All nations in him are blessed. All things are done by his will. He spoke to the sea, and the sea stood still. Now ain't that a witness for my Lord? Ain't that a witness for my Lord? Ain't that a witness for my Lord? My soul is a witness for my Lord. Now there was a man of the Pharisees. His name was Nicodemus, and he didn't believe. The same came to Christ by night, wanted to be taught out of human sight. Nicodemus was a man desired to know how a man can be born when he is old. Christ told Nicodemus as a friend, man, you must be born again. Said, marvel not then if you want to be wise. Repent, believe, and be baptized.